have it published in a meaningful way, and also for them to receive comments from others. So those are some reasons I think having a class blog is a good idea. I listed some other reasons I believe over here. Let me just get rid of this slide. So blog creates positive peer pressure. It showcases classwork. That's another thing I want to highlight. Maybe you've heard from parents, what are my students doing in the classroom, etc. So having a class blog is a great way for you to be able to show parents, for you to be able to show a wider audience what your students are doing, what they're learning about. It's a great way to showcase that. In my keynote presentation, I talked about how Hollywood has its award shows. Well, for me, a blog is kind of like the award show, the honorable for the classroom. Students who create good work are published on the blog, and they receive comments and feedback from others, which helps them make their work better. It's a really great cycle where everyone is recognized, where everyone has something to share. And ultimately, students' writing improves, as well as the knowledge, and they've contributed to something larger. So that is one internet innovation that I'm really fond of, blogging. Another thing is that, have you ever been able to write something if you only knew the top 20%? Have you ever been able to write about a topic only you knew 20%? Probably not. It would be hard for me to write about, say, AP Calculus because I don't really even understand that 5%. And even if you understand, say, 50%, it can still be difficult to write about it. Only when I understand something 99, maybe 100%, am I able to really effectively write about it. And so blogging is a way for students to flesh out their ideas, to understand what they know and what they don't know, and for them to learn and share their learning effectively with others. Now, blogging reaches many levels of Bloom's taxonomy. What is Bloom's taxonomy? Does anybody want to expand on that? Does anybody know all the levels of Bloom's taxonomy? Anyone? I feel like that teacher in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Like anyone?
Comprehension, analysis, synthesis, evaluation, knowledge.
Great, thank you so much. Because I wasn't able to go to the internet to find all of them. I only remember the bottom ones, I think, like knowledge, comprehension. That shows the levels of Bloom's taxonomy I've reached, I guess. Well, Bloom's taxonomy, so knowledge, comprehension, analysis, evaluation, creation. When you're doing blogging, then you're reaching many of those higher levels because students have to understand the material thoroughly. They have to remember what they're planning on writing about, having an outline, structuring that. And let's say that they're writing about a piece of literature they've read, having to analyze it, having to share their opinions. So it's really multidimensional in that way. Blogging is something, even though it sounds, since it's accomplishing so many things, it sounds like it might be hard, it's really quite easy. Raise your hand if you know how to set up a blog. I see a lot of raised hands. There are many blog sites out there. Some are even tailored especially for education. You can set the privacy level so that only certain people can read it, which can be really handy for schools. I know that student privacy is a big concern. And so setting up a blog is something that's easy to do. It accomplishes so many things. It's a great showcase of student work. It's something that I think is a really worthwhile internet innovation. Effective browsing. Effective browsing means the students are able to, well, it's pretty obvious, the students are able to effectively find information using good search strategies. So raise your hand, what are some effective browsing techniques you use yourself? Any ideas? When you are doing a search in a search engine, what are the tools that you use? Advanced Google searches, me too. So advanced Google searches are where you can get more specific and you can input more search information. So some of the things that I do are like, and another one that I like to do is if I don't know the meaning of a word, I do define, the word, and then I'm able to find the definition. Or if you want to find something from a specific website, you're able to do that too. So that might be one effective browsing technique. Now, students, it's not something you're really born with. You learn it over time. You learn it from others. And so even those students, you might think, oh, they're digital natives, they're so good at everything. That might be true for some things, but it's not necessarily true for everything. Because when you first go to a search engine, you immediately know where to do an advanced search, how to find a domain name, what a domain name is. Were you born with that? like you guys, unless we learn these effective browsing techniques, it would be more difficult to find information, and researching would be a lot of trial and error. So effective browsing techniques is something. Now, how many times do you browse the internet per week? 100? Okay, if you browse the internet 100 times a week, you would want to make sure that each one of those searches was as effective as possible, was getting as much information as possible, because you don't want to waste time. And the same is true with students. Effective browsing is a technique that you guys use, that we use today, that we'll use later in life. And what's more, when you look at a website, you're not able to immediately determine, is this website trustworthy? Is this website not trustworthy? So today during my keynote presentation, I showed a website called All About Explorers. Does anybody remember All About Explorers? Yes.